All right, welcome back. Bob Pompeani, Andrew Fillipponi with you. And we have a tweet that's interesting. And once again, you can tweet us at KDPomp, at the Pony Express. It's Bob Sassy, who says, "What grinds my gears," that's an interesting expression, but what grinds my gears about referees is they're standing watching a play less than 5 feet away, no call is made, it's the replay call that's made. Why didn't you blow the whistle in the first place? And this is almost like what we see in football a lot, Andrew, where sometimes officials look at one another and they're trying to figure out what to call because they know that replay is watching over every little play. I would have expected a call. I didn't see anything immediately, but what's your take?
Well, they called it a major on the ice. That's why they were able to review it.
But it took them a while.
You saw. Well, but right. To me, you saw enough on there to reverse the call.
Right.
You know that's my point. So that's why it's there. I am a believer that if it takes a long time, the call on the ice is probably the right one. But I thought that was a pretty black and white thing. Maybe there was an intent. I agree with you. I don't think that Brandon Tanev was trying to put a guy out. I don't think he was trying to knock him out of the game. But, players in hockey have to be responsible for their sticks, their skates, those things. Even if it's accidental or incidental, you can still have a penalty. And that's why I said it should have been just 2 minutes and not 5.
Right. Let's go to the phone lines. We got Steve in Newcastle who joins us first tonight on a busy night in sports. Hello, Steve.
Hey, how are you, Bob?
We're good. Thank you for calling.
Hey, Steve.
Good. Hey, I was just wondering, did you guys see this coming with the Steelers defense? Because I sure as hell didn't.
Well, I mean, like Andrew said, you didn't expect Dupree to come back. You knew the money was going to be big, and his rehab's gone well. So that was something they just couldn't avoid there. The Hilton thing is interesting. $24 million. I told Andrew, he said, you could do without Steve Nelson. I thought Joe Hayden could have been a veteran cap hit here, and then you could have restructured Nelson and made way for Hilton. Those two younger guys, I would have made an opportunity to keep them also. Andrew, and thanks for the call, Steve. Appreciate that. Andrew, and also ask you about what's going on with New England because they've spent a ton of money. They signed another tight end today in Hunter Henry. So they have two of the top free agent tight ends. They're getting a whole bunch of weaponry around Cam Newton. But is it going to be Cam Newton? There are a lot of people out there wondering what may be happening potentially trade-wise. Deshaun Watson is out there still. I don't know if that makes sense for them after they gave Cam Newton a one-year deal, but your take on their situation, because Newton now has no excuses. They got a lot of weapons.
Well, that would be a game changer. I mean, if Houston, and remember, the GM there has a relationship with Bill Belichick. He came from there. If that's what he wants to do. But Deshaun Watson, he's got full authority to veto a trade like that, Bob. They gave him that in his contract. He negotiated that. That's his right. He doesn't have to go there if he doesn't want to. And we saw Matthew Stafford didn't want to play for the Patriots. He told the Lions straight up, don't deal me there. But there's weapons there now for Watson, and there's a defense and a coach to win a championship. As far as I'm concerned, that's what New England's missing, a quarterback. Because the offensive line play for them was tremendous last year, and the defense still got it done, even with all their opt-outs. But as far as I'm concerned, as long as Cam Newton is the quarterback there, I think there's a ceiling on New England, the same way I've said about the Steelers. I think there's a ceiling on them this year. I think Ben's better. Don't get me wrong. I think Roethlisberger's better than Cam Newton. But as we're seeing, this was my whole argument all along. You tell me right now that this is a championship defense. I don't see it. Steelers defense right now is not what it was a year ago. And, Bob, that's one place. I don't see help coming in the draft. Do you? What you see is what you get with this defense.
They're going to try to help their offense first and foremost. They don't have a whole bunch of money to spend. They may get some guy who is released by somebody who could help them. But overall, inside linebacker is a big problem right now. And you hope that Highsmith is – you're absolutely right. It's not a guarantee. But I brought that up with the Texans because I saw they signed Tyrod Taylor. And I'm wondering if they're starting to insulate themselves for a deal. Jacoby Brissett goes to Miami. We also saw Andy Dalton go to Chicago after their attempt to get Russell Wilson did not work. It's very interesting how it's working out here in the NFL. Let's go to Ernest in Monroeville. Joins us right now on the Fan Hotline. It's not the Fan Hotline. It's the Bordas and Bordas Hotline. What's up?
Bob and Andrew, how you both doing?
Hey, Ernest.
Do the Steelers know what their schedule looks like this fall? Because I tell you, maybe they got a tremendous plan, but the people that I've seen them lose, and I don't see any value coming back at all. Well, they signed Ben, but I disagree with Roethlisberger coming back. But they always have a problem with the salary cap. Every year there's a problem with the salary cap and all that. Can you explain to me what it is about this salary cap that the Steelers, maybe all the teams have, we don't know.
Well, the teams that have quarterbacks have been around for a long time, Ernest, are going to have problems. And some of these teams that now have signed, you saw Mahomes had to restructure right after he gets a new deal, trying to create money. They had to get rid of 2 good tackles, although they brought one in free agency, Andrew. It's all about how much money you have tied up. Hayward has a lot of money. Tuitt has a lot of money. You know, all these guys, it starts adding up, and I think that's the situation there. But he's right. It seems like every year they're up against it, and they have no wiggle room.
Well, that's the reality for all those years when they had one of the most expensive quarterbacks in the NFL, and it made sense when you felt like with Roethlisberger you always had a chance. Now he took a pay cut, but his cap hit is still $26 million, which is not super high, but it's also not a giant bargain. He's playing at a bargain salary, but because of all the maneuvering they've done with the salary cap, you know, you're not getting somebody that you feel like gives you a competitive advantage. Bob, I would say this about the first 2 days of free agency. I don't think any team in the AFC North has gotten considerably better. You know, Cleveland, they bring in this safety from the Rams, but they also missed out on Bud Dupree, and the guy they settled for, McKinley, is already on his 4th team. Mm-hmm. So that's not an even swap. Dupree is much better than that guy. I think they need someone to go with Myles Garrett to have that 1-2 punch. The Ravens, where's their pass rush coming from? Ngakoue and Judon signed in different places. I think that's
New England for Judon.
That's a question mark. Yeah. And you know, the Bengals had all this money to spend, but they're bringing in as many guys as they've lost. I see William Jackson, a corner that I like, who the Steelers missed out on. They ended up with Artie Burns instead, just signed with Washington. So he's probably better than Mike Hilton. Bob, as much as I like Hilton, but they probably got the worst end of that deal. I'd rather have Jackson because he's a legit number 1 corner.
He's really good. All right, let's go to Scott in Crafton. Scott, go ahead.
Hi, Bob. How you guys doing tonight?
What's up?
Hey, Scott.
Hi. I disagree with the other guy. I do think Nelson has definitely earned his contract. I think he's very sticky as a quarterback. And the last question I have is, do you anticipate the Steelers' cap situation or the league's cap situation changing next year? Do you see it going up?
Big.
Or do you anticipate it to change?
I think it's going up big. And maybe that's why Juju Smith-Schuster's waiting around. I'm not sure what's going on with him. Thanks for the call, Scott. Andrew, I think it's going to go up significantly, and I think maybe some of these guys are looking, you know, to use this year as a way to get bigger money. What's up with him? I thought Juju would be signed by now.
Well, the reason why he hasn't is because the top of the wide receiver market hasn't been established yet. Kenny Golladay hasn't signed. Will Fuller hasn't signed. And Curtis Samuel hasn't signed. The guys at the very top, I think they're waiting for one to sign so then they can be the guy that already leapfrogs that player right away. So I think there's a log jam there as far as the top guys go. The salary cap, the one thing you need to keep in mind, though, Bob, is this. They borrowed from future years just to get that salary cap at $182 million for this season. I heard that if they had not done that, the cap would have gone down because of the money they lost last year to something like 165, 170. Yeah. So it's definitely going to go up, but it's not going to be like a $40 million jump next year. It might be 3 or 4 years from now. It might be way higher than that, but I think it will be a little bit more incremental and gradual than people anticipate.
We're due for a break. We'll take it right now. Pete from Scroll Hill, you're coming up next. One line open for you. Call us at 412-575-2600 right here live on Pittsburgh CW.